Okay. Good enough?
Good enough. Hi, everybody. We're live. I'm Terry at Holding Your Space, and this is my guest today, Diana Oil Painter, Diana Bowles. And I can't say my guest because we're both streaming, so we're on each other's channels.
There we go.
I'm
Yay!
so, I'm so excited about that, Diana. I just love it. You're going to be soaring. I mean, you have so much to give.
Thank you. Fly me to the moon and let me fly above the stars. Let me see what life is like on Jupiter and Mars. Speaking of which,
Yeah, speaking of which, Frequency Day.
oh,
So I'm just going to say hi to Warrior Widow. Annie Bear is here. Hello, beautiful Annie Bear. KD, Rush, Kelly B. How you doing? Liz, Maureen, Patricia, um, Lorraine, and oh, Kaylee's here listening in, and Lorraine. Lorraine, I got your question, and we're going to talk about frequencies for a bit. And then we're probably going to get to doing some um, readings too, if anybody wants one. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? Warrior Widow just waved her iPad. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. I'm always waving at people, or like when I am reading the chat or something, I'm looking the chat in the eye, which is a weird thing. It's like, okay, you don't have to do that, but it was drummed into me over my lifetime. Good morning, Lauren and Debbie Three Shifting Veils. How y'all doing? Oh, Kaylee started hearing voices and it was us. You're getting downloads, my love. You
uh-huh.
got it, Marine. Yeah. And we're going to be doing, we'll be talking about frequencies. So if I miss you and we get into the readings, make sure you let me know if you already put something in because I can't be trusted. And I'm okay with that. I hope you are. KD, hey, it may feel weird, yet in our side feels personal. Yeah, in a good way, thankfully. Oh, KD. Yeah. Yeah. It is weird stuff going on the planet. And it is, oh, I think maybe you were talking about me staring at the chat and watching it, but I do like to look people in the eye. Oh, what? Lorraine is waving at the TV because she's doing it on the TV. Hi, Lisa. Gotcha. Okay. So we're going to talk about frequencies of the planet. Do you want to start with that or you want me to? Or
Well, yeah, you start because,
I'll do it. I'll do it in a
you're
heartbeat.
pouring the tea today.
Yeah. So I just want to say that the inner earth work that we're doing in meditation tribe is huge, you guys. And it is not just us, it's other light workers around the planet, other circles that are doing this at the same time, concentric circles working. And everybody is doing this together. And when one person falls down or one person has a bad day, then the other light workers come in and keep that light going and holding space for each other. And that makes such a difference as we go in. Maureen, I just want to acknowledge while we're in the middle of this that her mom fell yesterday. Two staples put in her head. Oh, honey. Yeah, we gotcha. We gotcha.
For
Yeah,
sure,
I'm so sorry, honey. So,
for sure.
whoops, now I lost comments and go back up there and um, I'll star you so we can get that. Okay. Oh, KD's talking about heavyweight energy. And we were just talking about that too. Anyway, as we have a down day, like we might fall, we might have that gravitational pull that's so heavy on us. There are other people around the planet, other circles that are holding the light then. And I feel like we're all holding frequencies for the changes. As we go into the core of the earth right now, I'm recognizing that inner core, which is the 15th dimension, there is no gravitation in there. And it is the core heart of the earth. So when we go in there and change that frequency, and we're not changing that frequency, we are awakening to that frequency,
I love the way you put that. Absolutely. That's
right?
remember that's remembering.
And totally awakening and remembering, same thing,
You,
right?
the other morning in meditation, I had this humongous download that my third eye finally figured out what the root chakra is about.
Right?
And the core, the root and the core is, and it's like, not that they're connected. They're trying to plug back in,
Yeah.
and that's what's going on. If you, how many people? I was talking to Kim this morning, um, and I think Leah and Warrior Widow, they're all feeling this 1,000 pounds. You're feeling 1,000 pounds. Yesterday, suddenly couldn't move. I
Yeah.
couldn't move. I was fine. I got the dogs to the lake. I got out of the car, and I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And so I went to Walmart and walked around in a contained environment. And it's amazing what, even though there's a lot of, geomagnetic, not geomagnetic, but EMFs from all the
Oh,
computer stuff that they've got going on, um, that doesn't, I'm grounded enough for that. I can handle that. But when you're in there, when I walk in the front of the store, all of a sudden things start to ease up. And as I start to breathe that air conditioning, things begin to expand. My lungs are willing to move. And I have the cart to lean on, but I'm able to get some exercise. And once you get moving, it's just like doing yoga. Once you get that first stretch going, you can keep going. And they're behemoth stores, right? So from the front door till the time you get to the back, you're in this contained, controlled environment, and it just makes a difference. From the air we breathe to the surrounding protection, that we don't even think about it. But I think of Superman and Kryptonite,
yeah.
and what what he did for his protection, right? And that's basically is, I can see through lead walls. Don't want to lick the wall, but lead wall helps, which
Yeah.
we don't know. Is it reinforced with lead? Is there lead in cement? Because cement is something that continues to harden. It doesn't just, it's why they say that the Hoover Dam will never fall apart. Well, I don't know about that, but you know, it continues to harden. And Callie had said something about it the other day on her show with you. I think she was on with you, somebody about Hoover, the Hoover Dam. And I remember hearing something about it last year. So I went looking, and whatever it was that they had up last year sneakily has disappeared.
Yeah.
And
It does
all
that.
they got is this, oh, it's not going to break.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there are a lot of that going on. The things that we put out there and the things that we learn or the news clips that we might get, they're gone. And particularly with the James Webb, um, the the pictures that they get
Yeah.
are taken down right away if they're too
Oh,
much. But yeah, I do feel like for me going into that Earth core, that heart of the Earth, where there is no gravitation in there, it's magnetic. So there is no gravitation. And the more that we can go in there, um, it does help me a lot, but it does give you a lot of charge. But yeah, I am feeling those King Kong days. Like we have a tremendous amount of gravitation on us.
I want to correct where I said cement and use the term concrete because it's a different mixture, and it's
Right.
concrete that they made the dam out of. But you're so right about that magnetism. We are electric. I
Hmm.
mean, how many years ago did that song "We Are the Body Electric" come
I
out?
love
Every
one.
exercise show out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it activates us, and then the protons come through the ions that activates the geomagnetic storm. And we're electric, it's activating all of us, and we're standing on it. And so now we're glued to it.
Yeah. We are energy. And we think that this is solid, but it's not. It's energy in motion.
Yeah.
It's just the lower density of this planet makes it feel so thick. So, yeah, sometimes going out of your body, sometimes going into the center of the earth helps. Um, I just got that. I think it's called bentonite clay. Is that how you pronounce it? I can't remember.
Well, I looked it up both ways after the conversation this
Yeah,
morning, and it's still the same thing, whether you say benzonite,
that's what I
uh,
thought it was,
you
bentonite.
know, right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's and they use that to like make stone, and they put it between stone, and it lasts forever
Yeah, as mortar, right?
as mortar. And they use it. It's ancient. I mean, they've used it for all sorts of things, and it's plentiful. You guys, it's inexpensive to buy. I bought 2 pounds of it, and I think it was $10 or $14.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, right.
Where? Where did you find it?
I bought it from Jeff because I needed it before I left town. So
Oh, okay.
I got to admit I did. But we went, you can use it, the detox in your body. You can put it in your bathtub. Don't put a lot of it in your bathtub because you don't want to ruin your pipes. Or you can use it. I used it with apple cider vinegar today on my face.
And that sounded good just in itself.
And
But yeah,
it, it activated stuff.
so that's probably what is in the Hoover Dam, if it is continuing to harden.
I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, I like that. We
Yeah.
we can we can find the frequency in that
Yeah.
and the resonance in that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Apparently, it's just a cat.
Hey, Grizzly. So, I was talking to Diana about having a lot of downloads yesterday, and we were kind of bringing in a lot of awakenings happen, and that we're awakening beings inside the earth, and that we're awakening to them. So more so than they are to us, but particularly going down into the crevasses of the ocean, the depths of the ocean, the depths of the poles. Um, and the things that are miles buried under in the caverns and the corridors within the earth, there's huge frequency banks there that we have left behind, whether from Atlantis or Lemuria. And perhaps it was our future selves that left that there, or our past selves.
Well, off of Grand Traverse Bay here in Michigan, which puts us over in the Little Finger area
Mhm.
under Lake Michigan, is Stonehenge
Yeah.
from here. And they know it's there. And how did that get there? What melted? So that takes me to the legend that goes with the lake at the end of my street, and a time of the Great Freeze and the melting glaciers and all of that, where these Great Lakes are inland freshwater seas.
Yeah.
But once upon a time, they weren't freshwater, right? So
Mm.
if Stonehenge, right, because the earth is wibble wobble, and broke apart, and if you take all of those land masses and squish them together, you
Mhm.
got one solid mass of land on one side of the earth and all of this salt water on the other side of the earth.
Yeah.
And these are huge bodies of water. Lake Huron covered all of this, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
So I
I
say,
just, excuse me, I just want to say, Deanne, that's so powerful. Some
yeah,
lakes have no bottom, just portals.
makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
It's
They go
like
so deep.
it's like what happened to me the other day over Memorial Day weekend when all of a sudden there's a portal there. I know it. I have driven through that place, and just as you get out of the closed in area at the top of the hill, there's clearings on both sides. It's cornfields or soybean or whatever they're planting that year on both sides of the freeway.
Yeah.
It's not even an expressway. It's US 23. Anyway, it there's the setting sun on the west and the full moon on the right or whatever, and there is this huge generation of whoop. Well, I ride through that a lot, especially in October. You can get that one, and December. But I ride through that a lot because it's my route down to Detroit, Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti. And I know that I have to be careful going through there because stay grounded, stay present, hang on to the amethyst, But that day, I was just swept off my feet, and there was no stopping it. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at this ahead of me, and I'm going, where the hell am I? Well, wait a minute. You're driving a car. You're not in a spaceship. Pull yourself back down to earth. And that by the time I got all of that together, I had just passed through those two fields.
Wow. Um, I remember you showing us that, and that was huge. And that was an out of body experience, wasn't it, while you were driving?
It certainly felt that way because it was no longer my car. It was like being in on my Harley. There was nothing surrounding me. And I knew it wasn't like that, right? Because I don't ride no more. I don't bounce back like I used to. And so you but the Viceroy, my spaceship, is like that old pacer car. There's nothing but window around me. So you get that wide open Harley feel to this, but this was no atmosphere. This
Wow.
was I don't think I was breathing. I don't know. I don't think I was breathing through that whole 2, 3 minutes. And I can't hold my breath for 3 minutes.
You didn't need to, though. You were in a different realm where you didn't need oxygen
Right.
in your light body. Mark, hi, Mark. Mark says also a rock formation is located in Lake Huron,
In the
Georgian Bay or
yeah.
Georgian Bay. Yeah, yeah, right. And Warrior Widow says, love that you're driving a car, you're not in your spaceship, right? And not on your Harley, which of course Diana had a
Oh
Harley.
my God. I would have, man, if that had ever happened on the Harley.
Yeah,
I don't know what, I mean, that would have been like Lauren Hutton getting into her accident. She was riding through the hills in Sedona with a whole crew of people, and she was riding a crotch rocket. And Dennis Hopper was with her, and she had nothing but a skid lid. And he said, "Oh, no, no, you're on this thing, you got to have blah, blah, blah." And she got into a wreck, and he had put this full head helmet on her. She would have been dead. As it turned out, she had to have a rod in her arm, and that helmet was filled with dirt because she wiped out. She thought she was going 75, 80 miles an hour. The girl was clocked at 110 and going faster when she went off the road.
wow.
And there she is in the land of portals.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think all of us have had that opportunity where we get to a place and we're like, how did I get here? I don't recall pulling in at all.
Boy, that daily. In
Yeah.
fact, there's a book that I discovered back in 19, Well, I want to say I read it in 1990, but the diagnosis for lupus came in 1989. And it's called The Sun is My Enemy. And a lot of that is how the sun triggers our immune system. And this woman who wrote it would have experiences like that continuously. Think she's driving in Germany and snap out of it and discover she's, in the parking lot at the grocery store herself. Things like that.
Yeah.
So that lets you know right then and there that those solar flares they've been going on. It's a 12-year cycle that's been going on for eternity.
So I'm getting a ding, ding, ding here, aha moment. And it's kind of like a lot of us here have kids on the spectrum or family members on the spectrum somewhere. But, but, but there's always that light sensitivity, it feels like, with everybody that I know that's on the autism spectrum or whatever you want to call it, sensitivity spectrum, and lupus too. Yeah, and Lorraine says, yeah, she has it, and it's the sun. Direct sun is not good for her either. Um, I do feel like that is a huge component of that because the sensitivity of it. I know my son was always like the whitest child ever born. We lived in Florida. He was born on the beach, and we were like, okay, at the beach every day, but shielded with everything, and always very sensitive. And
Yeah,
camping and boating every summer. But I'm going back to the camper or the
so
cabin. Yeah,
two colors, white and pink, or white and red.
or white and kind of blue. my, my son was so white, he was a little blue.
Yeah,
I gotta
well, there you
say,
go. You wondered
yeah.
if he was a tall white? Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Right rush. Yeah. All neuro disorders. Light
Yes,
sensitivities. Yeah.
yes. The
Yeah.
sun is the enemy, and there was definitely a correlation that came with that because ultraviolet penetrates through glass, and it's in the shade. If you have extreme tree cover, you're good because the leaves are there, but don't let the wind blow. Well, you get a geomagnetic storm going, and what's happening next? That plasma is going to shoot the wind as the sun rotates and as the earth rotates. That is where the wind comes from.
Yeah.
The
And
sun.
I think that's what Deanne's saying here. Sometimes we walk and drive through time warps depending on the spiritual energy of the earth. The earth has a spirit too that we sense. 100%. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, Deanne. Yeah. Yeah. When we drive and walk through different areas, I can walk through different areas on my block, different areas in my backyard, and it's a completely different place, you know.
Yeah,
And then sunset and sunrise. Talk about a spiritual place.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, for sure. And to be in the forest, there's like no, these are the indigenous are here. Those who founded this breath is are here. I was listening to Oren. Oh, what's his last name? He's um, Iroquois, Anishinaabe, and he was on this morning. There's a channel called Bioneers, and it's all
Oh,
indigenous.
yeah. I think
I
I've
I
seen
did you discovered it? I just
it.
discovered it, and it's awesome. And so every morning I've been listening to them. Come on, sit down and stay put. Sorry about that. I enjoy the view.
Grizzly.
He's a lead talker,
Dude.
enjoy the view, right? Um, so it was really good. And the first interview I listened to, or lecture I listened to, was Casey. I can't think of her last name, but she played Graham in The Last Airbender. And so I mean, and if I got chills because they're phenomenal women and men that are doing this. And Rising Appalachia, the
Mm.
sisters, who I think I discovered them in before I moved here. I know that for sure. And they're performing at this year's meeting.
Oh,
So
wow.
what I've been watching has been mostly from last year because this year is kind of like still going on,
Yeah.
Symposium. Let's call it the symposium because it's a collection of all these people. So it's fantastic.
Where is the symposium?
I don't know where it's being held this year. I just go, oh, here's a new one, click,
Is this the one that Deepak and Punacha put on?
Mm,
The prophets and scientists or something, prophets and physicists or something, and it's yogis and
I don't think
um,
it's the same one as Deepak,
scientists.
but don't quote me because
Okay.
all I get is Bioneers, and that's the channel. And I
Oh,
just,
that's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look for it. I'll look for that. Um, People are talking about the moon too, and how important the moon is to all this. And
yes.
and as as our energy changes and we reconnect, because we were very connected before to the earth, but now as we reconnect and we reconnect with that core energy, then the frequency of the planet changes. And that's what she's going through. That, we've talked a lot about the growth spurt that we're going through and the different new dimension and whatnot. But we're always in and out of those dimensions. And that she is 15th dimension at her core makes so much sense to me at her heart. And that we can go in there and change that. But that changes every planet in our solar system as well. And then that changes the galaxy, the universe, the multiverse.
Mikio Kaku has a book that came out probably 3 years ago now, and it is all about the string theory. And it's very easy to read or get it on Kindle, however you do it, and let somebody talk to you on Audible. It's so worth listening to or keeping it in your library because he talks to people. He's not the mathematician scientist of scientists. He
Yeah.
belongs to us.
Yeah, some of the guys and girls, it's a little hard to listen to, but yeah, I like that when people can break it down, baby, break it down.
Yeah, break it down.
Um, Kaylee, as a woman definitely connected to the moon, my cycle matches up to the new moon.
Mine
Okay,
too.
Kaylee, I'm so glad you said that because we're such a we've been so male dominated during the Kali Yuga on the planet, and so that is definitely the cycle, like the daily cycle, right? What is that called? The daily cycle. You guys know it. Oh God, it's just out of my head right now. Anyway, when you look at that
Rhythm?
circadian rhythm, that's what it is, the 24-hour cycle of the sun rising and the sun setting and everything. Oh, Grizzly likes that too. And and so, but what we forgot about, that's a man's rhythm. And that's how we base everything on. Like, you go to work at 8, you get off at 5, Saturday and Sunday you're off. Well, women have a 30-day cycle or whatever it is. What Everybody's different, a little bit different,
Right.
but looking at that cycle, and there are days that we are like warrior women, that we are out there and we can do anything. And there are other days where we need rest and we need to detach a little bit, unplug, right? And just feel our energy and kind of abide. And then there are other days that we're so sensitive and so connected in a way that we're normally not. So catching up with that too, I do feel like in the future that that's going to be a huge part of it, because many people are very, very connected, male and female, to that monthly cycle. So it's going to be different. Deanne says, whoops. Oh, Deanne says June moon and strawberry moon month, strawberry harvest, and also the strawberry is shaped like the woman's uterus. It's healthy for the female reproductive system. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. Yeah. Right, Lorraine? Last week of the moon growing, I am worthless this week. Yeah. And and women fasting for a successful berry harvest. Beautiful. Um, and Annie Bear after menu. Okay. I missed the beginning of that. Sorry, Diane. Yeah. Annie. Go back and look for it. Circadian. Thank you, Annie. Yeah, she's so sweet. So it is really interesting how things are changing, and as we progress, um, the world progresses, the universe progresses, and until we get to that point again, and it's kind of reminds me of the core of the earth, and that's the in between, where there is no gravitational pull, where we sit and watch, and it's the space of infinite potential. So it's kind of like we've been going here in meditations recently. They just started showing me this, and us. That's where we've gone together. Is that looking at where the multiverses are created, and that space in between where we're watching, we're witnessing it, but we're in the other. We're in the other, the void.
Like the mirror,
Yeah,
right? Like looking in a
yeah,
mirror
yeah.
and actually being able to go, oh, that's what's over my shoulder.
Right.
But that's the past. That's like yeah, that's like the a frequency of a planet, right?
Hmm.
So the frequency of Sedna is a ping every 24,000 years because it's going to be a long time. She's going to be in Gemini for the next 40 years.
Is
And
that good?
well,
Yeah, I like Geminis. You're a Gemini.
right,
My daughter's a Gemini.
right. So 40 years, well, bye-bye, I think. And so the next time she's going to ping to change a sign, that's a long cycle, but it
Mhm.
is her pattern, her frequency. And then we have Jupiter who spends 1 year, so he pings more often because he spends 1 year in the sign. So, it is all of the planets have a frequency that is going to resonate with you somehow or another because you have all of those planets in the sky when you're born. So, where's your ping? Your ping is at whatever degree it was on your birthday. And every time that planet lines up with your ping, ping in conjunction or ping in another sort of um, I can't even think of words today. Are you kidding me?
Ping in
um,
another design. Because when you're saying
yeah,
ping, I'm
other
seeing,
design. Other
I'm seeing a
geometric.
light body, and I'm seeing the constellations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a square or it's a half of a half of a trine, and that makes it 30 degrees apart, the bookends, right? Like today, for my own personal chart, I have Venus at 29 degrees in Taurus in the sky, and in my chart, I have Venus, I'm sorry, she just went to 0 degrees of Taurus in the sky, and my Venus is 0 degrees of Virgo.
Wow.
So they got a little trine going on there, sextile.
Yeah. They're having a
There's
party.
Yeah, right? So there's so much resonance in these big planets to everybody because when you look at this at 29 degrees, it's a power. It is the oldest you can get for that sign. 29 degrees and 59 minutes of arc because we don't go to 1 degree for the next sign. We go to 0 degrees because when you're born, you're zero and you start your day in minutes, right? You
Yeah.
made it for the first hour. Chances are getting better. So
Wow.
when we look at the planets doing the same thing, now you're mature. Now you're looking back. Ping or wherever it is resonating in your chart. Ping, whether it is abstract and a challenge or supportive. It's it's a ping. It's a ping. It's a ping. So that becomes your personal frequency.
And we get those pings in life too, right? They're not just in the sky. Like
Right.
we get those pings where we're located with the ley lines and the sacred sites,
And the ringing in your ear
the
and
ringing
the
in your ear, and your tailbone on fire.
yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah, the tailbone's coming up like crazy. Um, Rafaela says, here it feels like the waters above are slowly descending or something like that. Does that make sense? 100. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me, Rafaela, especially because the waters are so healing. And Salrod says, and fluid. Um, Salrod says, Rafaela, I've noticed more density in the sky, far fewer lights, planes, or whatever.
Well, yeah, there's nobody landing those planes either anymore. So
Yeah, there's that.
no, I know I've mentioned this before, but I grew up in Michigan. That doesn't mean that I remember what it was like to live here because I spent 30 years in Virginia walking on quartz. I could dig in my backyard and get me quartz,
Yeah,
you know? And Luray caverns and all the deep, deep caverns that are all through there, right? That are just phenomenal with crystals and heavy quartz. So, and an organ that is played off the crystals. That's amazing.
wow.
If you've never heard that, oh my gosh, go to Luray and hear it.
Is
Anyway,
that the big stone that you showed us? That it was
um,
like a harp that somebody was playing. I thought that was like an ancient one.
it's an ancient one, but that was not that's not the one in Luray. Luray is like an old pipe organ, but
Wow.
it's on crystals. It's sounding on
I
crystals.
have seen. Okay, I have. Yeah,
You have done that? Okay. So coming back to Michigan to live is not like coming here to vacation or to, see mom or whatever
yeah,
for a couple of weeks. This is life all over again. And I don't have my sea legs. To this day, I still don't have my sea legs because, like Sally was saying, it's fluid, it's
yeah.
floating. And I did all of that on a Harley, but I had two wheels under me. you know, they did the traveling. I didn't have to stand, I just had to keep it upright. And all you got to do is just look where you want to go because that's how you keep it upright. You want to fall, look at the ground. you know.
Wow. Yeah,
So and I'm still, and that's why all of these things that all of us are going through can be so confusing because you got to examine the environment. You got to overthink it all. Like it or don't, you got to overthink it all, dismantle it, and put it back together again with the new materials that we are being given, which is the crystalline upgrade, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting that we're finding so many of this. I mean, for years I thought about ancient things and whatnot all around the world, and Nepal and Thailand and the mosques in the Middle East and Israel and everywhere. But really, they say there are more pyramids in the United States than anywhere else on the planet.
They've all been
And the mounds have been annihilated. Yeah,
the winding snake through Ohio. Be still my heart, the aerial view of that is just amazing.
yeah,
You
and
know, and you mentioned the Middle East. Well, what is sand? Broken up rock and seashells. And what is all of that? Everything that it takes to make crystal.
yeah, yeah. They say that Arkansas has quite a few of the Atlantean crystals and Lemurian buried there.
A friend of mine went spelunking there and
Oh
brought
my
me back
gosh.
Buddha's stairway. Oh, it's gorgeous. I should have I well, it's upstairs in the Moon Lodge. But
I have,
so Buddha's
um,
stairway has crystal points like that, but it is definitely got a set of stairs in there.
oh,
And
I,
at the top
I
of this
missed
one,
that.
it's got pillars.
Yeah.
You
This
probably
is,
call that one too.
yeah, this is from George, and he called this a teacher's crystal.
Okay.
So the teacher
Oh,
crystal.
yeah, there's the throne of Buddha right there. If you put that side down and then look right there in the center.
Right here.
Yeah, right there. That's your throne.
Oh, I
And this
didn't
is this
know.
is the stairway up to the throne. If you made that where the crystals are coming out, if you make
Yeah.
that the bottom, and if it sits comfortably, then it's telling you something.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive. Yeah. Well, of course it's impressive. It's from George.
Of
So
course. That's why he knew it was the teachers. He sat in the throne.
yeah, he did. He had pyramids all around his house and crystals. I mean, thousands and thousands of pounds that
Wow.
he took back. He took a lot of them back to Arkansas.
Mm,
Um, yeah, right. What's unexplored in deserts under the sun? That's right, Lorraine. And some of the stuff that's down there, you guys, what they've shown me, it's miles and miles beneath the surface. That things that happened, um, like during Lemuria, during Atlantis, that are Egypt, that are so far down there that we left. Our future selves and our past selves left there. Other light beings left there. And there's still light beings down there, but those corridors that they show me down there, they say you can't get in those corridors unless you're pure of heart. I call it pure of heart, but you could call it your light worker, or your high heart. It opens up with your high heart, which is, I think, the 10th dimension. And we've been using the high heart for a long time, and that makes sense that it would be the 10th dimension.
mm, definitely.
Yeah,
Because once you're there, all of this goes with it, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah,
And 40
100%.
feet above.
Oh, Red Dragon says that's where I captured the Viceroy, Diana.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Ding, ding,
That
ding.
that's that's all the pictures that Kim had sent shown us for the dream show the other night.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. And Sharon says Carlsberg Cavern is in New Mexico. It's one of the biggest caverns in the US. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are so otherworldly in their beauty. I believe that. Yeah. The whole planet's like that, isn't it?
Well, can you imagine living under there? I mean, I just go in there and go, I don't have claustrophobia, but this is frightening.
Me too.
You know,
Yes.
an earthquake could happen and yet they seem to withstand every bloody earthquake.
Yeah. They do. I never thought about that. I'm always scared about the deep falls, like going in there. I'll go in there in my light body and a heartbeat. Like I'll travel in there in my astral body, but I don't want to travel in there in my physical form.
Well, like Mad Woman Cavern out in one of the deserts out west, somewhere in the Mojave, where she got lost and
Yeah,
she, went Meshuggah.
I don't
Well,
know this
you
story.
know, I mean, they shut the lights off on you when you're down in some of those places, so you get a feel of what dark is like. Can you imagine discovering all that stuff with a candle on your hand?
Not in a heartbeat, girlfriend. Not in a heartbeat. Yeah,
Or to know it was, you don't even have a candle. You're a Native American climbing through this, crawling through this.
right. Yeah. Hey, Garnet. Um, Sally says, as long as air isn't a need, crushing isn't a worry. There you have it. There you have it.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is the spider? Green
Um,
frog.
Deanne says the ones who live deep, deep in the water are military warriors. They're the ones who are in black form. We call it the black thunderbirds.
I like that.
Wow. Interesting, Deanne. Um, I do feel like those ancient ones there and that are coming, that I'm becoming aware of, who, and I can see their eye opening, like, the side of a dolphin's head, and they have that beautiful little eye.
Yeah,
That's what I kind of see coming, but it's huge, right?
yeah,
And then I see it also in the ancient ones in the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100% primordial. Yeah. So I do believe that there are also some that look like, for me, this is what I've seen. There are some that look like the rocks on Easter Island, only they're larger. And they're guardians of many of these caverns when I travel down there. And they're very, you know, but once you open up your heart, and like we were saying about, we cannot get into these power banks that are filled with things that are going to change everything on the world. When we reconnect to that, um, they won't let anybody in unless you're pure of heart, unless you have a high heart activation. You have to be resonating at a vibration of that frequency will resonate with. So that's kind of what we're working with. So try as they might, people on the planet currently that are quite a bit of them in power are not resonating, we can safely say, on that vibration, that frequency, because there's still warmongering. And warmongering is a very 3D thing. So, yeah.
Well, and this takes me to a video that Stefan Burns put out yesterday, the day before yesterday, where he was explaining, and I can relate to this, the bomb testings that were going on in the late 50s and early 60s, and how that explosion is the same, it resonates with the explosion of an earthquake.
Oh,
It is the same, it is 1 decibel apart, and that's close enough to be a resonance. And I he believes that they're still doing the testing, but they're just doing it in places where it's secretive, where they can get away with it and not be noticed, because it's going to measure on the Richter scale down here as an earthquake the same way. So I think he may be right on that, but I can remember this is when it got really, really bad for me as a child. I'm not kidding. I would prefer to stay in the house. I come to life when the sun goes down. And I want to be awake all day long too, so we're in trouble. But I would make sure that I was inside playing in the dark, and people, I couldn't be outside. It just would make me sick. I wouldn't be able to stand up. I was ready to pass out. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't and I would turn scarlet and the next day be white instead of turning golden brown. No, but I was getting canker sores on my tongue,
yeah.
which is a sign of lupus. But then my
Wow.
mother wrote an article about the bombs being tested and what was happening to cow's milk way back then. And so she switched to skim milk because the fat's removed. And when she did that, the canker sores stopped popping up on my tongue, my father's tongue, my brother's tongue, my mother's tongue, and that made a difference. Well, what have they done to the cows since? They load them up with hormones to produce milk. They load them up with antibiotics because they're on machines all day long.
Yeah.
And you're drinking that. And add to that what's in their DNA from those bomb testings. And what if he's right? that they're still going on. Because what he said, it just doesn't make sense that, oh, all of a sudden in 1993, they're going to give in to us. No, they just found some place to do it. And what if that is way up there closer to the sun? Because when these plasmas go off, this is the worst it's been since all of this has started tracking back in the 1800s.
Interesting. One of the fellows that does the earthquakes, I can't remember the name of his channel, but somebody here will know it if you don't. And he was showing us different areas around the world, and when you look at it from it's not Google Maps. What is it? The one that's up? Yeah, from the satellite vision, you can see most of them have a pyramid within that structure, and a flat pyramid, so you can see the lines on it. But also there's usually a military base right around it where we get the fours,
Right.
the smaller earthquakes, which would be probably testing.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, Diana.
Fracking is another thing.
Yeah,
You know, we're a lot of those structures aren't going to fall apart and just crush because they're fracking, like the caverns, because they're not fracking around that kind of stuff, but they're fracking far enough away that it's going to be the chain reaction. Newton's cradle. You pull out one little ball and it hits the eight other, and one little ball goes up while the rest stands still.
yeah,
Well, eventually, that frequency, that resonance,
yeah. I think it wasn't Abu Dhabi. I think it was Dubai. Had a huge flood last year, you guys, and they were talking about weather bombs. That now they've learned how to make weather bombs, which will produce rain. And too much rain in the desert, if you don't know what you're doing with a weather bomb, is what you know. I mean, we're pulling out stuff here, but yeah,
well, but it's worth thinking about how reason it through yourself,
yeah,
But here's a thought, here's a seed planted. Now try to reason out how this can make sense, because that's where your intellect comes from. That's your creation. That is your imagination. But look at how much scientific evidence has come and become and has been proven through the imagination.
right,
If we can think it, if we can see it, we can have it.
yeah.
And
There's also we'll look at different areas around the world that has had a lot of war, and a lot of times there's a great wealth of minerals or crystalline energy below it. And you look at the Middle East. You look at all the people trying to go to Greenland right now, including somebody in our government, and other governments as well that are trying to make deals with Greenland right now. But all around the planet, they're trying to do that. I do believe the good thing is that they can't get into all those power banks. They can't. They can't do the idea that they have because they're not of the right frequency.
oh, beautiful. Exactly. They don't, they can't.
Yeah,
They can't.
their intention.
And intention is the pain.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I was listening to somebody the other day talking about this, that there's always darkness with the light on this planet in particular, and partially because when we come down here, we're doing like a huge growth spurt usually, or we're coming here like a lot of you guys are, to hold light for people so that they can go through their huge growth spurt. So and the change on the planet. Consequently, with that darkness and that light and the shadow self, that makes that growth and that makes that disruption and the energy grow. So changing of the frequency.
And that can also bring us to this place where, we don't lose our old guides
Right.
because they've had all of these frequencies all along.
Yeah.
We're just discovering how to really catch up with them, be them, and understand that we are them and that we are God. We are that frequency. We are, right?
100%. We're remembering who we are.
Yeah.
We're remembering our light and our gifts, and that we've had this all along, and it's all been right there.
Yeah.
And instead, maybe we've noticed, the pain and the suffering, which that was needed to wake up, and that's okay. There's no judgment there.
You know, I I love little kids. I loved my job. Do I
Yeah,
miss it? Yes. But not the way I did at first, because now I am free to be me. I don't have to hide some of me from some of the parents in my school, right?
right.
And the best thing about it is when a kid, a totally stranger kid, lets go of his mom's hand and comes running to me in a store to have a conversation, gotta tell me something. That just it. I could cry right now because that is so important. And day before yesterday, in order to get a walk, I walked through Target, and there's this. She had to be 5 or 6 years old, right? And too big to be in the in the cart. So she's in the basket.
Yeah,
She and her mom are having a conversation, and it's not that she's not smiling, but she's not grinning from ear to ear. And she looks at me and she just starts grinning. And I go, well, hi, how are you? And she's well, what are you looking at? Because I really need to know what it is you guys see.
yeah.
It would help me tremendously some days, right? Because we all get in those places where we think we're what imposter syndrome.
Oh,
Nobody loves
judgment.
me. I'm going to eat
Yeah,
worms. I'm
right.
doing this all wrong. How can I carry on? Oh, woe is me. But when I saw that little girl's face, the mom goes, "It's okay. You can say hello." And she couldn't talk. She was speechless. But our eyes locked, and it was like
She saw your light.
I something was something definitely. I love that she saw the light.
Yeah,
Hope she takes it with her all through her years.
yeah. Well, she probably recognized the light in her too at the same minute,
Right. And
right?
just adorable. I mean, all of these blonde-haired kids, even when they got dark brown eyes, it's like, how did that happen? I had to wait years for this to happen with my dark brown eyes.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything that you want to give to everybody about how to go forward?
Oh, how to go forward. Just be, you know, most importantly, Terry, don't you think being present is it? And I love that. How in alignment are we all, from the chatters to us who work together and try to keep everybody lifted? Because Allie and Kelly did a show yesterday on slow down, you move too fast.
I loved that. I loved
Wasn't that great? And that
that.
is exactly it. Nobody's present. I I was fortunate enough to not be in a public school system. I was in a private school. So but it was still regiment.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
2 minutes to do this. It's 2 minutes to do that. You got 6 minutes to eat lunch. You got blah, blah, blah. Now you got to get them outside. Now you got to get them in the car. Here comes the next group. Oh, and by the way, try to cram something in your own mouth there. So we're still propagating a short-term memory, a
100.
short-term attention span, which is worse than short-term memory, because
Yeah.
you can bring memories back. Your muscles remember everything that you did as a 4-year-old and still
Mhm.
want to do that, right? And like you say many times, you only have to imagine you're doing it and your muscle is responding.
Yeah, yeah. Your brain thinks you are. It's just
Right.
a muscle.
So being present eliminates that rush, that formula, especially as you get into the upper grades, where now we got 10 minutes coming into the classroom to be social and calm down. And then there's another 5 minutes of trying to ignore the teacher, though she's catching you every time you turn your head. And then you start watching the clock for the bell to ring. So if a teacher even has 20 minutes attention of any of those kids, it's amazing. Then the bell rings, then you're in the hall, then you're waiting at your locker and chatting with everybody, and the bell rings, and like they said, hurry up and eat your lunch because now you got to go to that's that's not right. Everybody is gifted and talented, and the classroom needs to reflect that,
Mhm.
in that there shouldn't, especially as they get older. 20 kids, fine. That's a social group. That still teaches you how to get along with
Yeah,
each other, even if you don't agree. But the little ones, those grade school kids, 10, 12 kids in a class, that's it. With an aide, even better.
yeah.
Because then they get the individual mindset and understand that okay, every day is a brainstorming and teaching people how to work together again. That has been lost in all of this.
Do you think that's what YouTube does for all of us? Reteaches?
Bring it back together, or
I think a lot of times that we're free to be like kids and find what we like. I mean, we get the choice of being able to watch things that might bring us into fear if we want to, but that's choice. But but also if you have a thing that you want to follow, whether it's Stefan Burns or if you want to follow energy workers, if you want to follow the dreams, you can specialize.
yeah,
Like you can subscribe, you can go in and you can go deep, and then you can do so many more things too.
right. And you can who you resonate with, whose frequency already pings yours. And
Yeah,
like there's a couple of readers that I'll watch for political stuff and I'll play with
sure.
cards while I'm watching them.
Yeah,
And then, the reason why I like Stefan Burns is because he's a geophysicist and he's open-minded and he does healing ceremonies at the end of big, big stuff with singing bowls and gongs, and he does the I Ching, and he's into astrology, and he is relating astrology now to these solar flares and the effects that it's having on Earth with earthquakes, etc. And I mean, sometimes he goes over the information too much, but he's who we leave this Earth too. What's he, 35, 40 years old? If he's, I don't think he's 40. I
I
don't
don't
think he's
know.
out of his 30s, you know.
Yeah,
And
he's too old for me. No.
yeah, yeah, right. But I mean, he's he's got this outlook. He's still trying to figure things out himself, and he's willing to teach what he already knows and offer it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate all the information he brings to the table.
Well, we appreciate all the information that you bring to the table. So you are a gift. I hope you look at yourself every morning and tell yourself that. You truly are.
No, the nuns had me believing that looking in the mirror is going to turn your face.
Right? Yeah. Yeah,
You
I
know that
do.
story all too
Oh,
well.
yeah. I went to those schools.
Vanity, vanity, it's a mortal sin. You must go to confession. Don't look in the mirror.
Yeah. In high school, our head nun was called Sister Gestapo.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sister Euphemia, that was my high school principal.
Yeah.
She turned
Well,
out to be, in my adult years, she turned out to be much more important to me than I thought. Now
yeah.
that I can channel her, because I'm sure she's gone by now.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she's amazing. I'm sure she's amazing now. Well, thank you so much for being here,
Oh my
my
God, we
good
didn't get
friend.
one card. How about
Okay. Yeah. Let's pull a card for everybody.
I'm gonna
Um,
pull one more to go with that tree of life. Oh, ooh, ooh, how perfect. Rattle.
The rattle. I love that because that's everything right now. That rattle and that heartbeat,
Right.
that new frequency coming in, you guys, is just, and I got connect to the eternity within.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
and
Oh, your
that's
own,
that frequency opening up.
right?
Yeah.
Our own heartbeats.
Yeah. And this one says, let yourself be held by love. And that's huge because that is the energy of the universe, love.
Yeah, it
And
sure is.
everything has a frequency, everything has a sound. So,
Each one of
rattle.
these cards has a heart in it somewhere, and on the rattle, it's going to be hard to see, but it's right in here.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Like in this one, it's up on her third eye,
Oh my God, she's beautiful.
right?
Earth.
Yeah. And look at
Wow.
all those fractures.
Yeah. Yeah. Fractures design. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Deanne was shaking her copper rattle and talking about tree tea. I
There you
love
go.
that, Deanne. Yeah, of course you were. Why wouldn't you be? Well, thank you everybody for visiting us, and please go to Diana's new channel and subscribe.
Mhm.
I've got the information on it in the description, and it's oil painter, and it's oil painter DB, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to get to where it's just Diana, like Cher.
I think it should be. As well it should be.
You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
one really quick funny story.
Yeah.
So in DC, uh, is a store called Hex back in the day when I lived there. And I used to work at Hex, and I worked in home goods and table settings and always decorating, right? Well, Cher had just released a um, perfume, and she was
Oh,
in
yeah.
remember, and it
Yes.
was nice, right? I Give me 1 second. I got to go get this picture because you're gonna freak.
Okay. I'm just gonna tell a little story while
Okay,
Diana goes to
do
the other
that. I
room.
got to do this because you'll freak.
I'd love it. So my sister worked in perfume in a nice department store here in Kansas City, and she won an award from Cher because she had sold so much of her perfume.
Ah,
And she had her choice. She could take a monetary no, she could have lunch with Cher, or she could go to Acapulco for 2 people.
ah.
And so she took me and we went to Acapulco. I don't know if now she was happy with that or if she would have rather had lunch with Cher in LA. But anyway, it was pretty cool. It was the Jones store, Kieran. Yeah. So which is gone now. But we had so much fun in Acapulco. I can't tell you. And that was all thank you, Cher.
For sure.
Hmm. Oh, yes, please.
That's me.
Get out of town.
And
That
there
looks
was a
just like
picture of
you.
Cher in the newspaper, and it was upside down. Now, back in those days, I was dyeing my hair black, right? And I this was taken 1991. I was 41 years old. So
Oh,
they
gorgeous.
Cher's in DC, and the Hex store that I worked at was in Fairfax, in Virginia. So they put me in the perfume department to trick everybody to make them think I was Cher, because she was in town.
I love that. Kat says, "Yep, and still a beauty."
Yeah,
Isn't that a
well,
beautiful picture? Yeah, pretty
there's a
little
reality
Diane.
check. There's 17-year-old me.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. 17 was not pretty on me. It was like, I don't know what I was thinking sometimes, right? That's
Right?
okay. Yeah.
And another one.
You look just like Cher.
I know. That's why they did that. And I still hear from people, God, you sound like Cher when you talk.
Oh, I never thought about it, but you do. Yeah.
So there was a picture of her and the in the newspaper, and the newspaper was upside down, and I'm looking at it going, who the hell took my picture? And then I flipped it around and realized, oh my God, that's advertise and share being at the downtown Hex.
Oh,
Crazy, crazy stuff, right?
I love it. I love it. All right, my darling, what do you have coming up next?
Um, it's the weekend. Nothing. I need to go out there and the lawn needs to be mowed now because it did rain. And I need to harvest some chamomile, so I have that soaking in oil.
Make my
And then
sound.
I need to, yeah, you ready? I'm gonna
I'm
mix,
ready.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
mix
almost
up a
out.
batch with magnesium chloride for the
Yes.
bottom of our feet, girls and boys. And I need to turn the beehives around because when my brother put it out there, I was there with him and wasn't even thinking. I want the door facing the street so it's wide open space. Because in the back, I have a patio built and my all kinds of stuff, and I don't want the doorway for the bees to be interfered with, and I don't want people to be in fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Denise is asking, how do we buy it? That might be something that you want to start doing on Etsy or something, and give your link from your Etsy if you're interested. Because you
Sure.
need one more thing to do, Diana.
Yeah. Well, and just contact me through email. We'll talk about it now. And I haven't made it. That's what I'm planning on doing with this weekend is making a batch of that. Some, the first couple ones are going to be trial and error. I ordered
Yeah.
mango butter to use instead of a lot of shea.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm going to use mango butter, a little bit of shea butter, and I have chamomile soaking in um, almond oil right now. That's been over a year, so that is well seasoned, and the flowers have been taken out. But this, I have calendula flowers
yeah.
in castor oil, so I want to make a conglomeration of those things, especially to relax us with the chamomile. Calendula is good for the skin, which is going to help with calluses on your feet. I'm trying to focus this towards people who have neuropathy.
Sure.
And, and my big handyman, Mike, has
Hmm.
neuropathy. He now calls me his witch doctor. He's on his third jar of stuff that I had made for him.
I love that. I love that. Love that. Yeah. Diana, please tell your channel info. Lorraine wants to know.
My info, well, it's just oil painter, like
Oil painter.
my email.
DB. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find me. Yeah, I put the
It'll
D in there.
Yeah, it'll be in the description of this too. I think it already is. I know it's on the post that I just did when we were going live. And yeah, everybody wants to buy the solve. And I gotta say it's amazing. And I'm gonna be on with Callie Healer right after this. We're going on at
Woo! I
noon
gotta let
Central.
you go, or you'll never get a drink of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get a drink of water and some nuts or something or fruit.
Yeah, right. I
But
had to wake up in the middle of the night and go eat a peanut butter sandwich because I wasn't sleeping. Something had to
sometimes
go.
sometimes that's it. That or sparkling water. And if sparkling water doesn't work, then it's a piece of toast with butter or jam.
Yeah.
So, but I hadn't thought of peanut butter. I'll do that next time. Oh, your husband has neuropathy, Denise says. Yeah, it was also really good for my neighbor who had what did he had? He had something psoriasis or
Ex-
something.
Eczema, psoriasis. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that one that didn't even have the magnesium in it, and I discovered for myself that does help eczema, psoriasis, and the lupus causes that. But ever since I had all those hives from eating avocados,
Yeah.
I've had eczema coming up on my sides, and I've got a couple of discoid spots, which is the lupus. And since I've been putting that on it, the itchies have gone.
Good. Okay. We don't like the itchies. All right.
Oh,
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. We will see you later.
thank
Namaste.
you, thank you.
Thank you.